She had it all: fame, fortune, and a legacy already carved into history. Serena Williams, the queen of tennis, a 23-time Grand Slam champion, had become a symbol of dominance, grace, and unmatched willpower. But in 2017, just when the world thought her story had reached its peak, Serena's life took a turn so dramatic, so perilous, that even her most loyal fans couldn't believe what happened next. And what she did after that? It stunned the world. You might think you know Serena Williams, but what happened off the court could have ended it all, forever.
I grew up, I wasn't the richest, but I had a rich family in spirit and in support. And I went on the courts with just a ball and a racket and a hope, and that's all I had. It's inspiring for all you guys out there that want to do something and want to be the best that you can be and want to do the best that you can do. You just never give up, because you never know what can happen. You never know who you can inspire and who you can influence. So I'm so honored.
At the start of 2017, Serena discovered she was pregnant. Most athletes might pause. Serena? She won the Australian Open while 8 weeks pregnant. Yes, pregnant, and didn't lose a single set the entire tournament. The world applauded, headlines roared, and fans smiled at the idea of Serena gracefully transitioning into motherhood. But behind those smiles, a storm was brewing. When it was finally time to deliver her daughter, Olympia, what should have been a joyful moment turned into a nightmare. Doctors rushed her into an emergency C-section due to complications. The delivery was already traumatic, but it wasn't the end. Just hours later, Serena felt something terrifying. She couldn't breathe, a crushing pressure in her chest. Panic, then she collapsed. Her body, once the strongest in tennis, was failing her. She had suffered a pulmonary embolism. Blood, clots in her lungs that blocked oxygen and could have killed her within minutes.
Superstar and Palm Beach Gardens resident Serena Williams is undergoing treatment for what was a potentially life-threatening condition.
Doctors found a blood clot in her lung this week and had to perform emergency treatment. News Channel 5's Marcy Gonzalez joins us now with more. Marcy?
Well, they found the clot after she returned to L.A. from a doctor's visit in New York. Williams was on the East Coast being treated for a serious cut to her foot. Doctors say long flights are a risk factor for this condition that could slow the star down for a bit.
One of the world's best athletes sidelined by a major medical scare. A spokesperson for Serena Williams says she suffered a pulmonary embolism or a blood clot in her lung. News Channel 5's medical expert Dr. David Soria says it's rare in patients as young as 29-year-old Williams and potentially deadly.
It can be life-threatening because it blocks some of the blood flow that is so necessary in the lung to distribute oxygen throughout the body.
Serena, a global icon, was now a woman fighting to stay alive. More complications followed. Doctors discovered bleeding at the C-section site, and she had to undergo multiple surgeries to stop it. For weeks, she couldn't walk. She couldn't even hold her newborn child. This wasn't just a setback. It was a war for survival. Serena was bedridden for 6 weeks. Her muscles, once weapons on the court, deteriorated rapidly. Each movement brought pain. Every breath reminded her she wasn't the same. People began to whisper, maybe this was it. Maybe Serena would quietly retire, spend her life as a mother, and walk away as the legend she already was. But Serena had a different vision, one nobody could see but her. Lying in that hospital bed, stitched and swollen, she turned to her husband, Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, and said, "I'm coming back. I'm going to win again." He looked at her, not with doubt, but with fear. Fear for her health, for her body, for her life. Even close family and friends questioned the decision. But Serena didn't waver, because in her mind, she wasn't finished yet. She knew the odds. She understood the risks. But her purpose had evolved. She no longer played just for herself or for titles. Now she had someone watching, her daughter. Serena once said, "I want my daughter to see me fight. Not win, fight." And that's exactly what she set out to do. And so began one of the most astonishing comebacks in sports history. The journey back was slow, painful, unforgiving. She had to relearn how to walk with stability. She began jogging, cautiously at first. Her breath came in short bursts. Her balance was off. Her stamina, once legendary, had vanished. Every day, her body reminded her, this is different now. But she kept going, one sweat-drenched session at a time. She picked up the racket again. Her timing was off. Her shots lacked their usual fire. Critics questioned whether she'd ever reach her former level. They didn't say it outright, but the world was bracing for disappointment. But Serena, she wasn't listening to the world. She was building herself back, brick by brick. Her first few matches, post-recovery, were difficult. Losses came. She wasn't moving like she used to. She wasn't smashing aces like before. But through every loss, Serena grew more dangerous. Not because of her skill, but because of her mindset. She wasn't playing to prove the world wrong. She was playing to prove herself right. And then came the US Open. Less than a year after, nearly dying, Serena Williams made it to the final of a Grand Slam tournament. The crowd was electric. The world tuned in. And across the net stood Naomi Osaka, a rising star, a player many believed was the future of women's tennis. But this wasn't just a match. This was a spectacle of resilience. Serena wasn't just facing an opponent. She was confronting her own past, her near-death experience, and the mountain of doubt placed on her shoulders. She didn't win the match that day. Osaka played brilliantly, and history was made in more ways than one. But what Serena did transcended tennis. She walked onto that court as a survivor, a mother and a warrior who refused to let tragedy define her ending. Because sometimes, the fight is greater than the victory. What Serena showed the world that day wasn't just about serves or backhands. It was about grit. It was about the power of the human spirit. She stood on that court to tell every woman, every mother, and every person who's ever been knocked down, you can rise again. In a world obsessed with numbers, trophies, and titles, Serena reminded us that the greatest triumph isn't always on the scoreboard. Sometimes it's simply showing up again after the world thinks you're done. Her comeback didn't end with that match. Serena would go on to play more Grand Slam finals, always chasing that 24th title. But with each appearance, her legacy only grew. Not for the wins, but for the courage, the grit, the refusal to stay down. She didn't just change the sport, she redefined what greatness truly means. So next time you think of Serena Williams, don't just think of the 23 Grand Slam titles. Think of the woman who bled, who broke, who nearly died, then stood up and picked up her racket again. Because Serena's greatest match wasn't on the scoreboard. It was the one she played against death and won. And that's legendary. If Serena's story moved you, inspired you, or made you believe in the power of the human will, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that comebacks are possible. Like this video if you believe that real strength comes from getting back up after being knocked down. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful, true stories of greatness. Because in the end, Serena didn't just survive, she made history again.